I'm joined by Counselor Gathers, Counselor Nave, Counselor Caldwell, Counselor Paniagua, Counselor Williams, Counselor Joan Rouser, and Counselor Majoke. We have Deputy Mayor here, Sharon Owens, and we have Frank Kaliba. What is your title, Frank? Anyways, Director of what?
Administrative Officer.
Director of Administrative Office. And we have, obviously, the class shy in the back there, Corey Driscoll, Dunham. So I guess we'll open it up. Why don't we just review the Mayor's office? And I like the green you have on. You must have known I was chairing, probably, Deputy Mayor.
Our budget begins on page 63 of your budget book. Okay. And so Frank and I will be tag teaming here. Starting with the personnel lines on page 64. One change to personnel, we reduced by one individual, Deputy Director of Strategic Initiatives. This was actually a shift of a position, and this person is working in research now. That's Samia.
Sami.
Yep.
So, okay, so you switched, the duties remain the same, or?
That was primarily working in ARPA. So as ARPA
Oh,
winds.
it's Jen.
It was Jen's deputy.
Oh, Jen's
Samia.
deputy.
And as Samia. So as that position, as ARPA has wound down, the need for the deputy director wound down, and there was an opening in research. So Samia took her position and her duties in research.
Oh, so just filled another position?
Exactly.
Okay,
Yep.
okay.
So there's just one line instead of two.
Yep. Yeah, can you explain the change in grade for each of the titles?
Yes.
So relatively simple, we went to, with the compensation plan, we went to a new grading system, and so this just reflects that. Budget, in their infinite wisdom, decided to show the decline of one, or the loss of one and the add of the other.
We went from, I guess, did we jump from one system to another? Are there advantages, disadvantages, additional costs in the long term?
No, I mean, there certainly are additional costs because we're more competitive from a salary standpoint, but it's really just a naming convention. Other than that, there's no change in the system per se. We don't really have a HR system currently, so it's more in a naming convention. And you'll see that throughout the budget book.
You mean our HR system as far as monies go, not as far as everything else goes? You still go to HR for personnel
Okay,
issues and stuff,
yeah,
right?
absolutely. Yeah, it's just not a systematic, this didn't reflect a systematic change.
Why are there duplicates for chief of staff, and then there's also, what's the changes there?
So that's what we were just discussing.
And
Counselor.
then the executive assistant, so it's the same concept?
Yep,
Okay.
Yep, just a different category.
yep. So you'll see a removal of one position and addition of a new position at a new grade and salary.
And overall, we went down in the mayor's office one position.
So which is the one that you cut down? You mentioned that at the beginning. What was it? The one you were cutting down?
The position is titled Deputy Director of Strategic Initiatives. That individual was overseeing ARPA at the height of ARPA, and as ARPA begins to wane away,
Okay.
she took a position at research
Got
with
it.
Janet.
Can you explain that position of confidential aid?
So we have an interesting naming convention in the mayor's office. We go through this every year, reminding ourselves of which position is which. So confidential aid is, Tori? Okay, so that's in our government relations. So that's Tori in the government relations department.
Right, does she combine privately with the mayor? She goes over budget, she goes over administration?
No, she's primarily constituent service.
So she handles constituent services? So if we have, as council, we have an issue with constituents, we go to Tori? Or-
So typically, counselors will come directly to budget heads or come to anyone in the mayor's
Okay.
office. Tori does an amazing job on the phone, on emails that come directly to the mayor's office.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right.
And her hands are full.
Okay, thank you. I know she was confiding the mayor and, it's issues, some of us old timers, we just talk to other people,
But you could go to her too. I've
Oh,
gone to
yeah,
her
that's
many
great.
times
All
and
right,
she does a
thank you.
great job.
What
Thanks,
about the
Tori.
two director of mayor initiatives, those two positions?
That is, so one is the same position, again, it's the
Change.
grade change.
Right.
But that's Greg Lowe.
Oh, yeah, that's what I want to know who, okay,
Yeah.
who it was, okay.
Greg Lowe, executive assistant is Haley, director, director of,
Corey's the executive assistant.
Corey is the executive assistant.
I promised Corey that I was going to get those changed with civil service before this budget round, and I didn't do it.
So Corey's is executive and.
Yeah, the senior executive secretary is Haley.
So maybe to clear things up, because these things, it seems the titles change more than the British royal family sometimes. I wonder if we could just go right down the list.
Right from the
Sure.
top.
Mayor is Ben Walsh.
Okay, we got him. He got elected.
Chief of staff is myself, deputy mayor.
Okay.
Okay. I think I got this one wrong. Director of mayoral initiative, is that Greg? Because I see
Two
the
chiefs of staff.
director of intergovernmental affairs. That's Greg.
Yep.
The
Exec-
mayoral initiatives.
Yep, that's Greg. Executive assistant,
Corey.
executive assistant is
I see.
Corey. Chief. Director of intergovernmental.
Executive chief assistant.
So, that's the new position.
Oh, yes, we just hired on a new position that works with Greg.
Oh, and what's his name?
Her name,
Her name?
Josephine.
So that would be,
Josephine, when you
What
walk
position?
into the mayor's office, her
Executive
desk
assistant
is
to the
sitting,
mayor?
it's right there. It's where
oh, I
Tori
know
used to be.
Josephine, yes.
So she's the director of intergovernmental affairs?
She assists Greg.
That's, oh, this one is Jen? Director of intergovernmental.
Jen Tip?
What do we got working here?
None of these like my title is chief of staff. My official title is
The
chief of
deputy
staff.
mayor's got her title down. Frank's got
Josephine
his.
is under Sura, this line is Jen Tip.
Director of
The
intergovernmental
okay,
affairs,
Jen,
okay.
Jen.
And the senior executive
Is
secretary?
Haley.
Is Haley, okay. And then the director of strategic initiatives?
That's been eliminated.
Okay, okay, that's it, okay,
And
it's
the
gone,
Confidential aid is Tori.
okay.
Yep.
Good, we got that done.
We got that.
Director of Strategic Initiative is eliminated altogether.
The deputy director
And Sharon Greg.
is eliminated.
The
Yep.
director is Jen.
That's the one that went
Yeah.
zero. That's the one that
Okay,
we
okay.
took that out.
Let's move on.
Counselor Jones-Rouser raises a great question. So we got rid of the deputy director of strategic initiatives. Now, where does the director of strategic initiatives reside?
In the director of intergovernmental affairs line. I told her
That is Jen Tiff,
that. Yep,
who supervised that deputy director,
correct.
whose position no longer
Yes.
applies.
So she has nobody to supervise anymore.
Which is just research.
Okay, let's,
It is one position, the grade just changed.
Grade change, and then it was eliminated altogether.
And that person is in research, yes, yeah.
So we only have one person in research?
No, she's just one of Janet's staff people.
Oh,
She transferred to research.
So let me be clear. So
To
the
a
title
vacant
in itself,
position.
the title in itself.
Yes,
Not
to a
created.
vacant position, correct.
So the
That's what I
title
thought I heard.
of strategic initiative has been eliminated altogether because there's one in, right? Is that the idea?
We
There,
use,
the title remains, we don't have a position, we do not propose to fill this position.
Okay,
in this
because you
budget.
moved Jen-
Because we moved.
Jen to
we moved-
intergovernment?
Nope, we moved Samia
Okay,
to research.
research.
Yes.
Where's Jen?
Jen holds,
Jen is
Is
Samia.
still
Jen
there.
holds
So
that,
who is in the intergovernmental affairs?
That is Jen, although she functions as the Director of Strategic Initiatives, her civil service title on the roster.
These are civil service titles.
These are the approved titles on the roster. We function day to day with slightly easier to remember
Titles that line
titles
up
that
with what
reflect
we
what
do.
people actually do.
Right.
It's fine.
This happens throughout city government, these titles versus
It is
what people.
laborious to
Yes.
change a title with civil service.
Yes.
So we tend to only do it when we absolutely have to. It takes.
I'm familiar. I think we need to, I'm glad that was mentioned because that's something that, without SIR and a few of the other things we use, vehicles we use, I don't see how we get past.
So, I don't disagree at all. It is probably, if you ask me, my single biggest complaint in my 6 years, it's that. And so we've looked at various ways of doing it. There's a number of municipalities who are taking it back from their counties.
Is it the bureaucracy at the county with the civil service? Has there ever been like just a meeting of the minds to try to make things smoother? I mean, I just, there was a couple times where I had positions in the Parks Department where actually they came in and interviewed me on what my duties were, and then they made up a civil service position. I mean, is that ever done, or?
So we do new positions now, and it does require us to submit a job description, and they try and match it to something that's existing, or they create new. We try to avoid creating new because, I'll give you an example. There is a position that the Syracuse Police Department created new. It was no big deal, actually.
With your
It was
permission, of
With our permission, yes, absolutely. They submitted it. It has been in the system for over a year. Creating a new position is worse than changing a title. So is it the bureaucracy? Yes. It's the volume that they have to deal with. They are doing it for
that's probably the
every
difference.
municipality in the county.
Yeah.
So
And it also
we
is
take
a
our turn.
state system that they're administering. So it's
Exactly.
those layers.
So, as I
And
say, there are a number of municipalities that have started taking it back, but they're much smaller than we
Well, my job is to help you out, Frank.
are. I
just
know,
making these
and I
suggestions.
appreciate that.
Yeah.
Councilman.
So Janet is not in this one, she's in a different, okay.
You'll see her in another budget hearing.
Okay.
Okay.
And then the other one, I am a office of one, so I am in the office of, it's because I'm so unique, Councilor
Frank just
Hogan.
skipped to his position, which is
Right.
page
No
67.
man is an island, except for Frank.
So on page 67, you'll see the office of.
Okay.
All right, so we're in 65, right?
I think the other position, or the other group we're talking about today, in this group is the Office of Gun Violence Prevention.
Which is under the mayor's office. Which
Okay,
is
well, now where's, okay.
page,
Okay, this is,
yeah, page 70. They are, as you see in line, page to follow this. 541, 500 professional services. Everyone in that office is a SURA employee, so you'll see them, their positions actually there. Other than Latif, his entire staff is grant funded.
so that's,
Other than Latif.
What's the term of the grant?
He has multiple ones, so he has one that is ending 25, December of 25. He has a couple of state grants that'll end at the end of this year. ARPA will end at the end of this year.
December 31st or fiscal year?
December of, I'm sorry, the DOJ grant will end the December of 25.
Okay.
ARPA ends at the end of this year. He has a couple state-funded, small state-funded grants at this point that will end in this year. And so we are always looking for additional funding. His salary is paid out of the general fund, but his staff are supported by grants.
so we go from 1.2 adopted in '24, and then we go 200,000 and 200,000, correct?
Yes, because 24, we took in ARPA into account.
Right.
Right? And now that's.
So where does so that $1 million, where's that go?
Remember, most of that is subcontracted to agencies. We're going to do that work in 2024. That money.
So that money still exists, that million?
Yes, we're working with contractors now on that.
I seem to be, but we passed the legislation in August, so they haven't got going yet, in other words, right?
No, they're out on the ground now, and
Oh, so they're getting
and they're
paid?
getting people. We, based on the legislation, we owe you a quarterly report in April, so you're gonna get a report
Okay,
from us.
we'll look
On the
forward to that.
status of the program.
We'll look forward to that. Good.
So moving forward, you see that $1 million is no longer there in '25.
Okay, so it's no longer there, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's been
We're still
spent.
spending it down, but
Okay.
we're not proposing
you-
another $1 million in the budget.
Can we, what is it off the top of your head, how much has been spent?
Top of my head, I can't tell you, but I will.
Maybe
We will let you
somebody
know in
can
the
get-
report.
Could you maybe let us know before, while we're still like
Sure, yep,
going through the budget?
yep.
Okay, thank you.
And Sharon, the temporary services that went from 5 to 32, to 32,000, who are these?
So what we are finding is that Latif brought on some part-time credible messengers that are employees of the city of Syracuse. We're finding that approach. They're directly accountable and responsible to him. And so we are really using that methodology right now and hoping that we're going to find real success. I think just based on the work that they've been doing so far, we see that. Remember, all of the other credible messengers and staff are through other agencies,
Yep.
and we brought folks into his office directly. They're technically classified as temporary employees, similar to what we classify summer employees, and they are working directly in his office as a city employee, accountable to Latif directly as staff people.
Okay, so then Latif staff, it's in temporary services and professional services.
Yes,
Okay,
Yes.
I just
yes.
got a little confused. Okay.
So that is separate from the contracted related services parties, right? Because, and that'll be part of is that all, I mean, that'll be part of the report too, is,
When we report, we're going to report not just Safer Streets through ARPA, but the entire office, what the entire office is doing, which consists of a couple funding sources. It's all gun violence prevention, just different funding streams.
more questions on that particular?
Yep.
And then we'll go to the Office of Communication.
In the past, the Office of Communication has had a separate meeting, have they?
I think they did once.
Okay.
But I'm going through this, I'm looking at this now. It does not
Okay.
appear to me that there are.
We don't have we don't have them on the
significant
schedule?
changes. No, we didn't schedule that, so,
Okay.
Okay.
I remember that.
a couple of years ago.
Can I stay on the Office of Gun Violence for one more
Sure,
minute?
yeah.
My apologies.
Yep.
Page 69. In terms of number of assigned participants, we've got the 23-24 estimate at 5.
Yeah, so we were establishing, we got approval from the council for Safer Streets. The end of '24, we got a lot of training from the grantee, the DOJ grantee. So we really started kicking off programming the end of the year into January. So that's why you're seeing these numbers jumping as we're, end of '23. Thank you, Nader. So that's why you
into
see those
24,
numbers
we're
jumping.
seeing a 5, but that's matched with $1 million worth of spending in terms of the,
So we got council approval for Safer Streets.
Yeah.
In August, as the counselor said.
Mm-hmm.
We spent we got approved in August, we spent September and October working on contracts with folks. Most of these folks had never done a contract with the city before. Pulling them together towards the end of the year. We got everything finalized, and we are assigning people now. People are on the ground now, doing case management now. All of it is moving forward now, which we're prepared to report to you.
Okay.
So we'll be spending down ARPA in '24. And DOJ will be spending down in '24 and '25.
Well, Frank, when do we have to spend all of ARPA up? That's what, at the end of what year? 25?
It needs to be spent, but it needs to be encumbered by the end of this year.
The trainings
Ruthie.
for,
Ruthie's here.
Ruthie, can you come up here? Oh, great.
Okay. Yep.
Okay.
some of the trainings for the credible messengers and staff, is it local or are they traveling?
Doing both.
Okay.
So what we are looking for.
And is that going to be in the report?
Yes.
Okay.
What we're looking for, Latif, Anissa, and the SNUG director just came back from Chicago. What we're looking to do is get the training so they can become trainers, so train the trainer kind of training. So we're doing it both locally. They're getting other CVI training that they'll be able to provide here.
For communications, the communications team just reminded me that they are providing you with an annual report in lieu of a budget hearing, but the two highlights on their budget are the addition of a marketing coordinator position. You'll see somewhere in the middle of their personnel detail on page 72. So that's a new position. And they have some additional software licensing under their operating supplies and expenses.
In the publication aid, which appears to be, going away, what?
I just want to clarify, Ruth Mangren, Director of Communications, the marketing coordinator position isn't new. We have a marketing aide, but she is a part of a MACNY apprenticeship. So when we went to look for a marketing coordinator a few years ago, all of the resumes were requesting too much money, more money than we had in the budget. So we went a different route, similar to digital services, and we went to MACNY to see if we can, work with someone who is from here and homegrown and put them through an apprenticeship training program to become a marketing coordinator. So we have a marketing aide right now. We're waiting for New York State to accept her registration, and then she will go through the marketing training with us and with MACNY, and then a year from now we're required to promote her to marketing coordinator. So we will abolish the aide position and she will have to promote into the coordinator position, which will put her on tier with what other marketing coordinators are getting paid. It's a civil service position.
There's a civil service position for a marketing coordinator?
Correct. It exists at BOCES and at the libraries, yes.
So, as far as strategically, why wouldn't we just outsource marketing?
Outsourcing for services like regular ongoing marketing would be extremely expensive. We outsource for some of that
Like
now.
the Center States, we work with them all the time. I know the mayor has a great relationship with them. Wouldn't they I just can't believe that I'm not a familiar marketing coordinating and city government.
So a marketing coordinator is actually a STEM field because they're focused more, it's a STEM field. They're focused more on product management, managing all of the data that comes in that we use to do segmented marketing, social media marketing, analytics, and they're working with all of the city assets, like all department-wide. They're supporting analytical work on the website. They're behind every single 22 social media channel we have. So to outsource something like that to an agency would cost hundreds of thousands of dollars.
I just mentioned that, but outsourcing, I just think in lieu of all the relationships the city has with different, the Convention and Visitors Bureau, the Center State, the Downtown Committee and all that, I'm a little stunned that we have to have a marketing coordinator.
Well, yeah, those agencies, they're focused on marketing the city as far as saying, hey, this is an attractive place to come be. But there is a need to make sure that all of the tools and assets that we have in-house, that we utilize those, that we protect the information that we're collecting. We have hundreds of thousands of emails and information that the departments collect from residents and send them regular newsletters, regular mailings. So Center State and Visit Syracuse, they're not gonna manage that much data for us. Versus 6 digits to do it out of house with a contract versus $55,000 to do it in-house with someone who's registered apprentice, has their journeyman card, and is from the city. It provides us a significant cost savings.
Hey, Rufny, I'm not sure if it's in this department, but when it's like the changes that go on in the city, like the trash cans or the sidewalks or any of that, is that part of your department too that gets the information out?
Yes.
From department? Okay.
Yes. I just wanted to clarify those 2 points in the budget.
Brittany has done a great job in training individuals, in an assigned individual in each department on quality of publications, what should be in it. They have her as a resource when they run into issues as well.
Yep.
And this person obviously can sort of work with all these other entities I mentioned.
Yes, and that-
you'll take them and introduce them to everybody and all that.
Yes, and that's the fundamental goal, to make sure that whatever happens on an administrative level, there's a person that is a point of contact for the Center States, for the Visit Syracuse, for the Syracuse City School District.
And they would take ideas from all the city councilors because we got a lot of ideas,
My entire team is prepared to
good
take
ideas.
ideas.
All good ideas.
Good ideas.
Yes. High level of idea. We're idea people.
You'd mentioned the title marketing aid. Was that the publication aid that's
Yeah.
going away?
Yes, we did request to the county to update the title. The publication aid title is from 1976.
It was a good
All
year.
of the functions of that role are now done digitally, so it's publication aid in parentheses marketing aid, because
Did they have the
that's-
bicentennial parade in there, 1976? That I ran, by
they
the way,
require
with Joe
them to do
Nicoletti?
news clippings and stuff. So we told the county,
Many personal anecdotes. I guess.
absolutely.
And then I'm intrigued by the title of storyteller.
So the city storyteller is it is a part-time position. It's something we've been pushing for a long time. So the way our office runs is we have public information officers. They are assigned to each portfolio of department, and they're managing anywhere from 5 to 6 departments and major projects. So their goal is to work fast and wide, because while one is working on trash rollout for carts, she's also juggling lead service line replacements for water and other things for DPW and other things for engineering. So they don't have an opportunity to do something that the council has asked for a lot and that I agree with, which is slow it down, make sure that we're telling stories about our services and put them in front of people in a way that is digestible, understandable, and meets them where they're at. But when you're managing 6 departments and 3 major projects, you just don't have time to do that. These public information officers, they do not get overtime. They work well over 40 hours a week. So there's no room for them to say, I'm gonna spend 5 hours to go out and interview someone, to shoot a vid, and to focus on this one story, to tell a story about our FEC program, or to tell a story about payment plans for our city payment center if you're behind on taxes. The goal of the city storyteller is to do what the first city storyteller in Detroit did. The mayor of Detroit said, you know what? When the news tells the story, we get a bad rep. And Detroit is better than what's happening on the news. So he bought in a city storyteller, and they started telling their own stories, focused on people, places, and programs. The way that it's branded to the public doesn't look like government, because albeit there are people who, if they see government, they don't trust it. So they're not going to go to government for that information. They're going to go to their neighbors or Facebook or the community agencies they trust. So this city storyteller is coming in to help us figure out how to take our existing interns, and we're looking for some resources to help support this person that are really grant funded and not, depending on the city budget, to kind of build a team that does just that. tell stories, slow it down, and focus on people, places, and programs, because we're just not afforded that luxury with our existing communications program.
If you mentioned a distrust of information coming from the government, what avenues or which vehicles would be used for the storyteller to put their stories out to the public?
There's an existing brand that we're developing to launch in the second quarter. It's separate from the mayor's office or any of the departments that exist on social. There'll be some information coming forward in the next few weeks. We're trying to see if we could contract with a former reputable storyteller in the city to kind of like pick up their audience and see what we're doing about calling it something else. It's called SYR Neighborhoods, and it's focused on just looking like something that comes from a homegrown grassroots brand that talks to people on their level. So we've been working on this for a few months now.
And just to kind of like tie a puzzle piece to that scenario, I think the fire department does an excellent job when they're reporting back to us photos and commentary about what happened on a site. So that, like seeing the pictures that day, I'm like, who is the photographer for them?
So we work with all the PIOs, the fire PIO, the police PIO, and the parks PIO around data gathering, storytelling, getting things out in social. So, the goal is I don't want a resident to have to follow the fire page, the police page, the mayor's page, just to understand what's going on in the city. That we should have a way to talk to people on their level.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can I ask you, do you go out to the public? I mean, I'm also a neighborhood watch leader. So are you willing, because Deputy Mayor's been to our meetings over the years, to come to me and explain, because there's so much negative. There's so much negative here living on the north side.
I'm a north sider
You know
myself.
what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We have a wonderful program. We have Tilly's Touch, and people don't even know what it's about. We have such good programs, and I really think, and I'm not trying to slight any other part of this neighborhood, but of the city, but we have a lot good going in our neighborhoods too, and I think the word's got to be spread out because there's so much negativity. So I'm a fight to saying yes, yes, yes. But we have a lot of good, and they're like, they'll combat me where? So this is where, if you could be a storyteller, come to our neighborhoods.
I'm very much looking forward to that position for this reason. If you see what the storytellers in Detroit have done, in Denver, Colorado have done, in Atlanta have done, they've been able to really tell a better story about their cities that's really focused on people and places and all of the wonderful programs that cities do.
Yeah, because a lot of people don't know what's going on.
Yeah, I'm
I'll be
excited
honest
to do something like that. I would love to connect with you and find a way to make sure that this person and myself start visiting those meetings more often when we can.
Well, I have a meeting next month. Let me afford to the deputy mayor.
Maybe we can get the city storyteller to come to Marty's meeting.
I gotta
And I
hire
could do
them
some
first.
storytelling too.
Well,
Yeah, I gotta
Marty,
hire
I've been
them
in those
first.
meetings. You do some storytelling, I'll tell you.
Yeah, the individuals I've been interviewing are definitely people that are Syracuse champions.
I think Marty brings up what we all, everybody who moves here loves Syracuse. Sometimes we have a cynical population that the glass is always half empty.
That's
you know?
true.
So it's amazing. You run into those people and they say, this is a great place to live. And then
Yeah.
you run into somebody who's been around for years and they're saying, this is,
Yeah, remember when the trains went through downtown?
so.
The rest of the, I'm sorry.
Thank
Go
you.
on.
No, I was just going to say the rest of the, question, apologize.
Ruthnie, I was wondering if there are avenues for shared services like the school district through your marketing department. Are there those shared, combined collaboration efforts at all that may be able to?
So
save
right
some
now,
resources?
the school district handles about 80% of our printing for any kind of collateral or material or publications that we put out, unless we're trying to do something that's either, citywide or that needs to be done in a less than 3-week window. We usually work with the city school district print shop. I think that's a shared service agreement. I can't remember the value right now. And then the city graphic design shop works with us on a few projects, particularly things like stationery, business cards. Most of our expenses come from the digital tools that we use, and then projects when we work with departments because they have a project that incorporates public outreach and public input. Those are more driven on dollars and timeline. If a department comes to me and says, I got a public outreach project in 2 weeks, I'm probably going to be upset because now we've got to spend money, now we've got to open POs, now we've got to move really fast with a printer. Typically, we have PIOs in working with most every portfolio because the goal is if they're embedded in those departments and helping them with operations, then they know about something months in advance. A great example is the great work that NBD is doing with Proud Places. So Sarah Palo is the NBD PIO, and she is there twice a week working with them. She knows it's coming, and she's able to say, how do we ensure that communications is a part of how you deliver this service so that people are a part of it? There are lawn signs up at the Butternut neighborhood right now. There are door knockers going up on the Butternut neighborhood right now. There's reporters being contacted about the cleanup that they're getting ready to do. So when they're embedded and they're a part of that, then they know in advance, okay, let me start setting up a communications program for this project. But when it's short term, we don't have the ability, and those costs really come from projects and departments. But we do partner with school district on a few services.
Nothing for the county? With the county?
Outside of standard county purchasing and partnership.
Okay.
Okay, thanks, Ruthie.
I think Frank had something.
No, I was just going to say, I think other than that, the remainder of the executive office has individual hearings, so.
Frank, you mentioned software at the beginning.
Did I? That was a mistake. I don't know, I
No,
may
didn't you
have, but-
mention software upgrade
Yeah, we're going
somewhere?
to, through, through HR, yeah. But we've got an individual hearing on IT and API
I
where
thought it came up.
we'll be able to.
No, I thought it was related to
Yep.
communications in some manner.
Software licensing. They have an increased seats on some of their existing, yes, thank you, Council.
So, councilors, are there any other questions of the mayor's office? Hearing none, I'll ask for a motion to adjourn this meeting. I'd like to, but before we adjourn, I want to thank the mayor's office for giving us the support we needed yesterday through the police department and the city clerk's office for guiding us through everything.
I think
what
that
happened
was
yesterday. I appreciate it.
a collaborative effort.
Yeah, well, it was appreciated, believe me. So I'd like to,
Thanks,
motion to adjourn.
Thank you.
So move.
Second.